I'm Trudy.
My name's Kyle.
My name is Jules.
My name's Jules.
I've lived on a narrowboat for 9 years.
I've lived on a narrowboat for 3 months, so not a very long time particularly.
I work at the marina. I've worked here about 8 years, and I've lived here almost 10 years.
I've lived at this marina for 4 years now.
I decided to live on a narrowboat as it seemed like the most akin lifestyle choice to myself. I personally didn't like the idea of owning a house and having a big mortgage kind of weighing me down and keeping me more than anything confined to a singular space. I've got rather hot feet. I like the idea of travelling, and having a home that moves for me felt logical. I don't drive, so a motorhome was out of the question, and having a genuine interest in narrowboats and being nerdy enough to sit and watch videos about them on YouTube, it just kind of seemed like the logical step to take.
Living on a narrowboat compared to a house. Now, a narrowboat is, you have that freedom to move around. You can go out onto the canal, you can even if you just want a change, you can literally turn it round on its moorings so that the sun comes through the different windows.
You've got more freedom with a narrowboat in respect that if we want to change neighbours, we can do. We don't have to sit next to the same neighbours, we can move along somewhere else, but we never have done. We've always got on with our neighbours because it's a very supportive community. I love that about it because if you need any help, there's always somebody there.
It's just sort of, it's more peaceful. And if you don't feel like doing much, but you want it outside, you just open up your doors and you're out amongst everything.
Previously, I didn't necessarily have to worry about where my water, my heating was coming from. It all just got piped into my home for me. And obviously nowadays I have to consider topping up my water, fetching fuel to burn, emptying the LSAN. So there are bigger differences in my day-to-day routine compared to what I do at home. But for the most part, the fact that it floats, I'd say, is about the biggest difference.
I don't think there is a huge price difference between living in a house and living on a boat while you're paying off any loans or anything that you might have to purchase the boat. The main differences are that you might pay off the boat a bit sooner. Often the terms of the loan are just like 10 years rather than 25. But boats depreciate, not as fast as cars, but they don't hold the value like houses do. So as soon as you've paid one off, you'd have to then start thinking about putting money aside to buy one in the future when the one that you're in isn't worth as much if you wanted to change boats.
Yes, as regards household bills, yeah, it seems to be cheaper. But you do have your expenses. I mean, obviously you've got to pay for diesel, and you've got your insurance and your river licence and moorings. You make it as cheap or as expensive as you want to, I think, really. Positives, you can change your neighbours. We're in the open air more. We seem to have more time on a narrowboat to do the things we want to do. It's a very close-knit community, and there's always somebody there, as I've said before.
The positives, I say, going out cruising, you can literally take your home with you wherever you want to go. So if you wanted to move around on your boat, you'd be able to do that, and you still have all of your stuff with you and everything that you need, and you can like go on a holiday, come back, and you don't have to unpack at the end or anything like that.
Negatives, there aren't many, really. We're warm in the winter, red hot. We've got dishwasher, washing machine. We've got everything that we have in the house. You have to learn to live small. I think that's probably one of the only negatives I can really think of.
Your toilet fills up and your water empties and you have to keep replenishing those that you don't have to think about in a house. And then there's like annual maintenance and all things like that, which are, I know you have to maintain a house, but it is different to that. You have to kind of keep on top of it a bit more than you would necessarily in a house.
Would I recommend living on a narrowboat? Yes and no. I think again it's a lifestyle-based kind of answer. If you're 50, 60 years old and particularly frail, it's not going to be something that may be the most manageable for you. At the same time, if you have no idea about what goes into maintaining a boat, the kind of weekly checks you have to do, and there's a lot of things that I think sometimes people don't consider. If I were to give someone an idea of a better way of living, I would definitely suggest they go and buy a narrowboat, because it's a much more, personally speaking, enjoyable and relaxing way of life, and ultimately I think everyone's looking for that. So
it will depend on the person. It's not for everybody. I've seen a few people try it and it's not for them, which, you know, not every living situation is for everybody. But if you've got the right sort of, you're quite happy not to have anything, and you're quite happy to get on with having to draw a manual work that needs to be done, there's always something that needs fixing on a boat, or painting. So you've got to be willing to do that, otherwise it'll become an unmeetable job. If you're wanting sort of an easy life, it might not be for you.
I might always live on a narrowboat, I might not. It really is down to our plans for the future. Never say never, and I think a lot of boaters might say that they know that life isn't always the same, and your preferences change throughout your life and your circumstances. So, but for me to choose to move off, it would have to be something amazing, like a place on the coast.
I'd say a reserved yes. As I say, I've got pretty hot feet and I like to travel, so the idea of saying I will stick to a way of life for a particular length of time isn't something I would tend to do.
Life on a narrowboat it's everything that you might want it to be. It can be really, really sociable with your neighbours, there's a great community here, or it can be really quiet and you can be a recluse if you want to and nobody minds.
It's a nice, relaxed pace life, but you've got to be prepared to put a bit of effort in yourself.
We have barbecues outside, so if we go out for a barbecue, people will join us, you know, and get together, and so it's probably more social. And we see a lot more people on here. You know, you go off your boat and you see people, whereas in a house we hardly saw anybody from day to day. So we do see a lot more people here.
But it can be hard work, particularly in the winter when it's really cold and you're outside and you're iced in, and so you have like extra work to do. But it is really satisfying at the end of the day when you've done everything and the stove's on and it's so hot you're still in a t-shirt even if it's like -10 outside. It's just really lovely.